Today we're going to talk about how it was living in China and working in China with dark, beautiful skin like this. Oh, beautiful chocolate skin like this right here. So I don't know if y'all know this, but China can pretty much be considered a homogenous society with over 95% of their people coming from Han descent or originating from Han descent. Everybody else falls into the other. And then of that, I would say black skin, so-called black people, we probably make up less than a half of a percent. Is very little of us. So needless to say, being tall and dark, I kind of stood out on there. And that had its pros and its cons. Some of the positive things I saw were the people. Right off the back, people were genuinely curious and they wanted to know who I was and like where I was from, you know, because they never seen nobody that looked like me outside of like their TV screens. And again, I'm making this video too, by the way, because I'm seeing more and more black people wanting to go to Asia and then see what it's like around there. And I've seen some people, you know, talk in a more negative light, and I've seen some people talk in a positive light. So I just want to just give y'all my experience so that way you have more to go off on. So here we go. Yeah, I liked how people would approach you. They were curious. They want to know who you were. This could be awkward though sometimes because most people don't have a good grasp of English, the language. A lot of people in China or Asia in general, they all pick up second and third languages like during school. So it's not like it is here in the United States. They're learning from as early as like pre-K, let's be honest, like, you know, all the way up through university and stuff like that. So a lot of folks have like different languages that I practice, and English is one of them. Most of them learned that in school, but even with them having that knowledge that they learn from school, some don't feel confident about their ability to speak it, you know, due to them not really using it or having it in practice so much or having people that they could talk to. So a lot of times people would, you know, they'll come up and they'll try to say a couple things that they know, but then they, you know, they want to kind of embarrass. They kind of feel a little embarrassed about their level of English, so they might kind of withdraw a little bit. But honestly, I like these kind of approaches. Like, even if we got to like whip out our translator app to make sure we understand each other, I'm just that type of person. So some might find that as a little bit of a con, but me, I think that's great. Another cool thing I would say is I noticed that with me being a taller person, a lot of people think I'm like a famous basketball player or some type of black celebrity. So that, you know, that's cool. Comes with a couple perks, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, if you're young and you like to party, sometimes you want to go out. A lot of times I found that they'll let me get into the club for free. Nice people will come in and pay for my drink or like bring me a drink. Or I'm the type, I don't just take a drink, by the way. If someone else bought it to me, it gotta come straight from the bar, you know. That's just my trust issues. People are genuinely nice and they won't try nothing crazy over there because the laws are pretty strict, riff-raff and stuff like that. But still, you gotta protect yourself. You never know, so you want to make sure you're doing the right things. I didn't mind people thinking I was a celebrity. I told them, hey, I'm not that person, but shoot, you know, I'm me, you know. Let me up in there, I don't mind. It could be an issue though, I found, like when you playing basketball though. So like I like to ball, no matter where I go, I pull the basketball out, I'll buy a basketball there, I'll find the gym. And I'm a decent player. I'm an average player. I'm pretty decent. I'm good. I handle my own on the court. So if you go out there and play ball on a gym or something like that, or at a court that you see, they love basketball in China, by the way. That's something that they absolutely love. So if you get spotted out there playing like a little pickup game, I'm telling you, like my experience, by the time we were done with the first game to like 12 or something, I noticed the skill level of the players started getting better. Like all of a sudden, buses was coming in with like teams, like professional playing teams will come, jersey and all. And next thing you know, so now I'm running with just some local people in street clothes, but you know, we going against a whole basketball team of some sort. It's funny like that, but you know, it could get crowded quick over there. It turned into the Olympics. Feel like it turned to the Olympics real fast. Yeah, I welcome the challenge. I definitely represented well for the USA. USA. I did get served a few times. I'm not fitting to lie to you. There's some good players out there, man. Some good tall people. Contrary to popular belief, there's a lot of people well over 6'5" in China just walking the streets. I'm talking like, yo, they showed up. When Ed showed up, they showed up. Another good thing was the public transportation and the delivery apps. There's trains, mopeds, buses, taxi ride. Anywhere that you would need to get, these these will take you. So it's relatively cheap for their public transportation, and they got a vehicle that can get you anywhere. You do have to be careful though, if you do rely on public transportation, as it could kind of get expensive. It builds up. Everything adds up. So, if you end up getting used to it, yeah, you'll be able to check your account and see that, man, I'm spending a good amount. But still nowhere near as compared to here in the West. I usually drove my bike to work to save money. Plus I like to exercise, and I really like to just immerse myself into wherever I'm at. That's how you get the best out of the experience, and you can learn from different people that you meet on the street. You never know what's going to happen each day when you live like that. As far as the delivery apps, China is second to none. Anything and everything you can imagine can be delivered directly to you, no matter where you are, with just the tap of your finger, man. Like, all you gotta do is search it up, and boom, find their app, click that button, and there's gonna be some type of service delivery man that's gonna bring it to you, right to you. So you gotta be careful with that too. You could definitely gain some weight if you're more of like an introverted type of person. You're gonna just stay at home. There's a lot of them there because it's so easy to do that. I found that very convenient, especially during COVID. And by the way, like, I'm just telling you all my pre-COVID kind of experience, because things got a little bit more crazy, after COVID. But pre-COVID and then during COVID is what I'm explaining. So I moved to Shanghai, and that's where I was at. I also lived in Nanjing, Beijing a little bit. What else? There's a couple, Suzhou, Chongqing. There's a couple of different regions I stayed at for a while. But we're gonna talk about Shanghai because that's where I spend like most of my time. Now, I did tell you guys a bunch of the pros that I found, like the positive things, and I tried to like bake a little bit of the cons into those positives because I don't really have much cons. Honestly, the only con that I really want to just separate and talk about is that, especially in places like Shanghai and Beijing, white skin is the golden ticket. White skin is the golden ticket. So all my white homeboys out there, hey, you need to go ahead and get that passport, stamp it up. The whiter and more American that you seemed or you talked, the better you were treated in like almost all areas, including work. So I'm gonna get into work a little more. And honestly, like, it does have its negative impacts that I would say, like in society in general. Like, for example, even the white people that I did run into out there, the mindset of them, kind of got just like a pretty girl. Like, if you see a pretty girl, when she growing up, everybody just calling her, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so great. Oh man, I just wanna know you. They constantly getting their head like boosted up and being catered to. That kind of like builds up a complex. So a lot of the expats that I met out there who had white skin, they were kind of like, some of them put off that jerky vibe, that was kind of rude and stuff like that. So that's one negative impact. Another one is like the parents would think that a white skinned person is more fit to teach their child and just be the best at teaching just because of their skin color and what they've seen on a TV. But in general, the people have love for lighter skin. This is just in general in China, by the way. Like, they like, the darker your skin, somehow the more unworthy you were. I'm just telling you all the truth. Like, even them, like, I talk with a lot of Shanghainese people and just people anywhere I'm going. I'm just trying to figure out how life is. And for some of the more dark-skinned folks that I met out there, they told me their experience, and a lot of them didn't feel like they were attractive or like they measured up to the society's view of what beauty is. So they become a little bit insecure as a result of it. But yeah, these are just some of the negative impacts of being in a society that values the white skin and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure wherever you from and wherever you listening from, you probably have a little bit of an ideal about this, as colorism is like just prevalent all over the world. I don't blame media. It's the media's fault. Oh yeah, brother. They kind of paint every black skinned person as, give me everything, man. Give me everything. Put it in the bag. No! Or like, if you white, you got the business suit. Yes, and I'll be there around 1:45. Yeah, it just kind of sucks, but that's just what it is, guys. And I'm just trying to give y'all the real here. So I hope if y'all do like this video so far, man, just leave a like right there. Comment. I'm trying to get an algorithm. This is my new channel. I'm really trying to make this work because I really think I have a lot to offer, like as far as information. We need to, Americans, especially dark skinned people, we need to get out. We need to get out of here and see this world more. Get around and just really experience things. We don't have to always just experience our neighborhoods or our cities or the mall or the beach or something like that. There's more to life. I hope y'all enjoying this, but let me tell y'all how it was working in China. So, for starters, I worked in like 3 different sectors while I was there. One of those, of course, being HR. One of them being a STEM English teacher at a primary school, and the other one being a film writer. So basically, for the HR role, I was in charge of sourcing talent and onboarding foreign talent. For the English teacher role, I taught elementary school age students. Their elementary school students start at like 3 years old, so from like 3-year-old students all the way up to about 10 to 12. I also worked in an adult training center, so I just gave speeches in basic English to elderly people and some young adults. The film role I did was I pretty much just translated, script or wrote songs or cleaned the toilet. Nah, I'm kind of kidding on that, but pretty much anything they ask for, I'm joking kind of about the clean the toilets. They got an IE for that. There's pretty much an IE in every company to handle that. Yeah, in reality, all of those jobs was pretty much doing what the boss said, and that could like be a range of different responsibilities. So you never really know what you're gonna have to handle before you get to work. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. Working in China was definitely a lot different than working in the United States as far as like the business culture, labor laws. All of these things kind of like was just like night and day. The organization and how they structure things is a lot more socially oriented, of course, professional. Oftentimes things felt like spur of the moment. I mean, the foreigner, they kind of leave you out of a lot of decision making process, and so you kind of won't know everything that's going on until it's time to execute and do your part in that. The first thing you need to be able to adapt to is being able to work on your feet, because you're gonna have to like go into a lot of things blind. And if you're a type of person that just needs structure and you're used to that, it's gonna be a little bit of a struggle, but you're gonna be able to get in and fit in. So just keep that in mind. Breaks and lunches. So typically in the West, we have our labor laws, which guarantee you a break or a lunch after a certain hour and depending on how many hours you worked. So over there, for the most part, you definitely gonna get a lunch, but it could be at any time during the day. The duration of it definitely changes a lot depending on how business is going. If you have a lot going on that day, if the workload's big, you can count on that your lunch break is going to be interrupted in some way, and you're going to be expected to carry out whatever the responsibility is, even though you're on lunch. A good thing though, I would say, is like all lunches are paid. You don't have to clock out or nothing like that. You're going to get paid. On a reverse side of that, if it's not a lot going on that day, your lunch break could be a little bit longer than it's supposed to be. So let's talk about coming into work and being on time. I'm not gonna lie, I've been a person that kind of struggles with that because I'm more of a free spirit. I'm a free spirit, and I really like to enjoy life and take everything as it comes. It's a little stressful, but of course I am punctual. I normally arrive about a few minutes before time starts, but in China, it's looked down upon. They typically arrive to work about 30 minutes to an hour before the shift actually starts. And they definitely expect you to be doing the same, as you will kind of get a little bit of hassle if if you come into work on time. They'll be like, hey Eddie, I noticed you came in a little bit late. Everything okay? You're like, oh, I thought I was supposed to work at 8 a.m. And then they'll be like, well, yeah, 8 a.m. They're kind of like laughing off. Yeah, 8 a.m. But, most of us, we come in about like 7, so you just kind of have to adapt a little bit. You'll definitely also be leaving late oftentimes too. So when the shift is over, you could expect to probably sometimes stay 30 minutes to an hour after your shift is over too. So these are some things that you have to think about to make sure that you definitely going along with the cultural customs, but you definitely need to have some backbone and be firm a little bit on what you expect and what is expected of you, it's good to just go ahead and come out front with it and tell them what you can do. Of course, you don't want to be stern. You want to be respectful in doing this. This is the next thing. Money is God, okay? Money is God in Shanghai and China. That's pretty much everywhere you go. So don't sit there and act like you don't know what I'm talking about. You got to understand that your bosses will definitely go against whatever contract that you have agreed upon, depending on if they got a lot of business coming through. Like, they're going to definitely pull you in a little more because you're going to be probably bringing the money in. Like, a lot of times, especially in like the English teacher role, American, I would say United States, you definitely more sought after when it comes to these type of positions. You got to know that if you're bringing a lot of business to the company, they're gonna want to utilize you and up that money. They want that money to just keep growing and growing and growing and growing. Now, another thing I would say is it's definitely good to have a labor lawyer like in your contacts. You don't know how much you need that until you're over there. A lot of their labor laws are kind of really complex and hard to understand, especially as a foreigner. Even if you do have the ability to read and speak Chinese, a lot of it is confusing. Not only that though, a lot of it changes ever so much. Like, it's not really it's a fluid type of thing. It's alive, you know. Like, you're gonna notice that a lot of rules change as time goes. So that's one thing, being able to keep up with it, and having a labor lawyer in your contacts is a good way, because they normally post the updates and a lot of the changes, especially pertaining to the area of teaching English. And I have a couple of, if anybody's interested in that, if you have a WeChat, that's like their big social media platform, definitely download that app. And yeah, if you're interested, I'll send you some of the contacts I got. Whatever type of working permit you're on, you want to make sure that you keep up to date with that, and you're not illegally there. You might end up illegally there due to, something happening. You want to make sure you always understand exactly your status over there. Okay, now that we have a good idea about how it was pre-COVID over there, I'm going to talk about like how it was post. Things definitely got a little bit weird over there after COVID came out. I'm saying that like it's a CD, like it's a new album or something. Coming soon, new COVID. Things kind of got a little bit shaky for dark-skinned people, I would say that. Right off the bat, people started to like have more of a disdain for like black-skinned people, thinking that we may be the disease, like we have the disease and stuff like that. I know that might sound crazy, but a lot of their media out there at the time, like their local news stations, were reporting that certain countries in Africa were like super spreaders, and it's be careful around them, that kind of rhetoric. Naturally, the people in the streets that you're gonna see, kind of looked at you with the side eye, and kind of kept their distance from you. Yeah, kind of people got a little more hostile towards you with their business. Like, for example, McDonald's, I remember them having a sign up blocking their entryway talking about some no foreigners. But when white people, I seen them get up in there, man. I seen white people slide through there. But shoot, they ain't let my black ass in, bro. I came to the door and they said, no, we closed. That's something that happened. Another thing, like people just not really being as friendly to approach dark-skinned people. That's something I definitely noticed off the bat, because like I told y'all before, everybody running up on you like you're a celebrity, but now they trying to fall back. But this is some things that happened to me. Like, my film contract got dropped all of a sudden. Students' parents would pull their children out of my classes, saying that they're afraid their kid might get sick by me and stuff like that. Some of the taxis or buses outright deny you entry or just be hesitant to take you somewhere. So that's something that I've seen. And another thing, like my kids, they would like often be treated like their diseases or something at the park or, wherever we was at, like if we was in a big busy place like a mall or something like that. But like, needless to say, during that time, me and my kids, we had to get up out of there. Another thing about that, like, I'll go into that in a whole nother video of us trying to get out of there. We was kind of actually stranded too. Like, flights to the United States of America was just out indefinitely. And then the tickets to get on them planes, boy, that was going about 10,000 USD. It was a crazy time, I ain't gonna lie. But we made it through. Things are a lot better now. It just the COVID era, it was kind of crazy over there, especially when you was dark skinned. So things have since, kind of got back to their normal way they were before. But yeah, this has been my experience about living in China and working there. I hope some of this insight helps you, but please leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Like if you have any questions about it, or if you interested in going to China and you need some pointers or anything like that, hit me up. Just be respectful and be kind, okay? Peace.